Hey, Cole.
Ryan.
I know we do this bit every episode, but it's Tuesday! It's another time. It's
Tuesday.
another time for Beyond the Screen. Here we are, back again. Week 7, I believe. 7 weeks in a row of us babbling about cinema and what we think.
Wow, Ryan. I didn't know we would get this far. I never expected it.
I know. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? We're going to say that every week, too.
Really is crazy. It's pretty much mandatory at this point that we have to mention how wild this just seems to us.
And it is. It's fair. I mean, it took us forever to finally get this idea, this concept off the ground, and now that it's here, the longer it goes, the more unreal it feels.
Have you had any fans approach you in the
Um,
public?
I mean, in droves. I can't go to work
Yeah.
without I have to swarm through a crowd, try to drive through the swarm. Everyone's asking for their autograph. They want my opinion on every actor. Actors are trying to get me to, give them my connections in Hollywood.
They're wanting my fingernails, man. They want my DNA. Like
Yeah.
just the fans. Like I sold a kidney stone for like 10 grand just yesterday.
Yeah, see how big we made it in 7 weeks.
Wow. It's unreal, guys. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
all the support.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buy our merch.
Yeah, that we have.
Lots of merch.
Lots
We
of
have
merch.
totes, hammocks, all licensed. We've got a few cars around the Richmond area that have been wrapped in
Yeah.
around the screen,
Yep.
beyond the screen logo.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a beautiful logo. I would want to get my car wrapped.
Well, we'll look into that for the future.
Thank you. Thank you. But on a serious note, it's time to get in to the recency in cinema. The last week in everything that has happened. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm absolutely ready. I am so ready.
All right. So, as we always start, we're going to start with box office winners, and no shocker, Doctor Strange continues to have its just death grip on that number one spot. This is, I think, week 3 in a row.
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
It's reigning as king.
It earned another 32 million at the box office, making its grand total gross. I think this is just domestic at over 342 million, close to 343 million. Second place, which is kind of surprising to me, in its opening weekend, the new Downton Abbey movie, A New Era.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that I didn't think that'd be
The
as popular.
moms. The moms go see cinema, so they see films.
Yeah. I guess because I never. I mean, the next two films in the slots in 3 and 4, we've seen before. They've been there. They've done that. Bad Guys at 3, Sonic 2 at 4. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Bad Guys are another 6 million. Sonic earns another 4. Both of those
Yeah,
just raking in the dough.
you go to the theater as a family. Um, Dad sees Doctor Strange. Mom sees the Downton Abbey. Kids see Bad Guys. It works.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect just list of movies. Just pick one and go.
Yeah. All mid. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Sonic's probably great.
to round out our top 5, Cole, you're gonna have an opinion on this one.
Okay.
Men.
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 I saw it. I watched it in the theater just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And let me tell you guys, my jaw is still on the floor. It is a shocking film. You have to go see it. Just for my little spiel about it. I thought that Men, directed by Alex Garland of 28 Days Later, Annihilation, and Dread fame, along with a few other projects, and actually has a breadth of work that has been put out in Hollywood. Yeah, he directed this film, and it gets lost in the narrative. It gets lost in the metaphor. It doesn't make sense, but it doesn't try to make sense. It's never asking you to make sense of what the film is, because it's one of the most surreal and bizarre things that I've ever seen in my life. And there would be absolutely no way. You know, Ryan, this is more of a movie take in general. Horror movies these days, the status quo is that they have to make it to where you walk out of the movie theater and you're like, well, you know what? It all could have been just a coincidence, or it all could have been natural causes. Maybe none of this supernatural stuff was actually happening. This is not at all what Men tries to do. It throws a bunch of stuff in your face, symbol after symbol after symbol, after event that has really seemingly no coherence to one another until the end of the film. You walk out and you will be left with a feeling like someone who has just seen The Ring or Saw or Hostel or The Human Centipede for the first time. You talk about disgusting. And it's a polarizing film as well. We have a 44% Rotten Tomato audience score, and let's see what the critics review is, because critics love it, the audience hates it. It's
Interesting.
really, yeah, for just the general person who would go and see this movie, you would hate it. If you didn't understand anything about probing deeper into a film to discover hidden meanings, not hidden meanings, but meanings that might not be told outright. You're not going to understand it. You're not going to like it. It's going to seem like a menagerie of uh, toxic masculinity and gore. But to people that are a bit poetically minded, who really understand how these things come together to create, you know, a general feeling and statement without any direct dialogue that affirms it, you'll understand what the film is getting at. I don't want to give anything away. I'm sorry if I can't just mention details, concrete details about the movie, but guys, if you want to see a possible upset in the horror genre, something that might shake the ground a bit, and lead directors in the future to maybe do things a different way, this, you want to go see this movie. It's like a Salvador Dali painting in England, um, but it's all about how evil men truly can be.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just did a quick Google search just to see what popped up, and Rotten Tomatoes on Google, it says it's a 75 by them, and IMDb gives it a 6.4 out of 10. But 45% of Google users, only 45% like the movie.
Right. Right.
The audience reviews is a 2.2 out of 5.
Yeah. It's just weird. It really is weird. It's uncomfortable, and I think that even seeing these reviews, I understand how this might have had the correct effect on people that Alex Garland, intended. That you're not supposed to like it. You're not supposed to say, "Wow, that was like the most beautiful." It's not like a what are those movies? What are those movies that your aunt watches on DVD?
Like Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, Gone with the Wind. It's not Little House on the Prairie, brother.
Right.
Nothing like it.
Very
There's
interesting.
not a cowboy in the whole movie.
Yeah.
The whole, and you can see this. This isn't much of a spoiler. In the trailers, you can actually see it. Most of the men in the movie are played by Rory Kinnear. Pretty much every man in the community, as it turns out, is played by Rory Kinnear. So it really only has, 2 or 3 actors. Jesse Buckley, who's been in a bunch of like British stuff. I don't know. Oh, she was in I'm Thinking of Ending Things. She was the lead in that,
Yeah.
along with my boy, whatever his name is, the dude that shoots the kid in Breaking Bad, Jesse
Oh,
Plemons.
yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, Jesse Plemons.
Yep.
Yeah, it's A24, and guys, go watch A24 movies.
They're so beautiful. Like
They
every
are.
A24 movie. Like I actually have a take on them a little bit later, but I do enjoy A24 just for the cinematic style. A movie we have covered by A24 is The Lighthouse. That is an A24 film, and it's one
There
of
are just
dude.
so many more.
Oh,
So many more
I know.
great films.
None that we've covered. We need to just do an A24 month because we really need to cover them. I'm going through and just seeing the films they've done. They did
I'm looking
everything.
here.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they did everything. What's it called?
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
That's right.
So they've done X, they've done Midsommar. Let me. They did Lighthouse, as I said. Trying to go through.
They did Euphoria.
Did they do The Witch? They
On TV.
probably did.
They did The Witch. Yeah.
Yep. And then I'm seeing
Um,
Hereditary,
Lady Bird.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems. Sure.
Yeah. No, like they like A24 when they would, I'm gonna save it for later. But they can. Did they do a ghost story? I don't know if they did
Yep,
or not.
they did.
They
Yeah.
did.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Moonlight. Moonlight's a Best Picture winner.
Yeah. No. They definitely like they have a lot more weird ones than they do good ones, but they're great. Their good ones are great.
See, this is Wikipedia. Says the highest five grossing films from A24 are Hereditary, Lady Bird, Moonlight, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Uncut Gems. Of four of which I've seen, I've not seen Everything Everywhere yet. Still in the theater, obviously. But I saw a thing that said that it had uh it had taken the number one place as the highest grossing
That
A24 film.
actually was my next piece of cinema news.
Okay,
Was
well,
that everywhere or everything everywhere all at once did in fact take A24 A24's top spot as highest grossing film of all time, and there's a lot that would argue that it is the best A24 film of all time.
man, people are really liking this film, and I don't know why I haven't like somehow pirated it yet, or
Yeah.
you can buy it on Vudu from 1999. I'm not gonna drop a 20 on this thing.
No, yeah,
I'm not gonna
exactly.
drop a Jackie, but
Right. No,
but
but
I'll wait.
oh yeah, no, same. And it's definitely I think it's worth the wait. I think it's probably still in theaters. I don't know if it's in our area still. I mean, obviously it's still in theaters because it's still earning money in the box office, but I don't know around here where it is. But yeah, no, before we move on from A24, it's very interesting that this movie cuz like I remember seeing the trailers for it, but it looked just like another multiverse flick. Like Marvel has kind of set the trend for multiverse, and now all of a sudden everyone's coming out with their own version of multiverse. And I thought
Which
this.
ones?
What are you talking about?
Like, what are some popular multiverse?
Well, I think of like Sony coming out with the Spider Verse
Oh yeah,
right after Marvel, and I know they're you can technically call them the same thing, but right off the top of my head, Sony's like, oh yeah, here's Into the Spider Verse and that franchise that's gonna happen, and right after Endgame when they were like or well not even Endgame before that even in Far From Home when they were teasing the multiverse
right.
in the live action Spider Man, and then they kind of did a multiverse in Endgame, and then they did it in Loki, and now they've done it for sure.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden,
Multiverse of
Sony's like,
Madness and
yeah,
WandaVision, and it started with WandaVision. There was some multiverse stuff.
right.
Well,
And then
that's the
all of a sudden, A24 drops everything everywhere all at once. So I was like, ah, this is just gonna be another carbon copy of
Did
Multiverse.
you see that Teen Titans multiverse thing they did?
That was another thing that happened. Yeah, yeah. I saw. I was actually discussing that with somebody the other day, where they ran into like the old animation version of themselves.
Yeah, it's called Mayhem in the Multiverse.
Yeah, and it's actually so my younger brother loves it, and I sat down to watch it, and it just happened to be that episode, and it's actually hilarious. That episode is
Very
so
good, yeah.
funny. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
highly enjoyed it.
I'm gonna have to. What is it? Teen Titans Go and Superhero Girls Mayhem in the Multiverse, and they got the whole gang here. They
Right.
probably got like they probably got Robin Thicke here. Who knows?
Well, they don't. The thing I liked is that they weren't pandering. That it was like here's your jokes for people that watch the original show. Here's those that still watch it now, and you can enjoy them all, regardless of if you watch Teen Titans Go or not.
Oh well, they're doing the. I mean, I guess right now why I don't want to say Alvin and the Chipmunks, Chip and Dale movie. That's like a
yes,
multiverse thing, isn't it?
it's more like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay, well, that's. I've seen the ugly Sonic thing that they've done in
So
that.
funny, man.
Have you seen the film
Which one?
Chip and Dale?
The new one?
Yeah.
No, no, no. I have not seen it yet. I've just seen the trailers for it.
Oh yeah, well, we're gonna have to watch it for next week.
Honestly, yeah, that could be our film to watch. I didn't realize. Not even gonna lie. I don't know how I missed this. I guess I just missed that they put it on Disney Plus. I thought they were just hyping it up.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be in the theater. Like I looked at the Cinemark website looking for a time to watch this movie, but they just dropped it. So
Yeah, I just looked on Disney Plus and I see it now. So that is definitely gonna be on
oh
our
yeah,
next week's doc because that's
oh
insane.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
It's only an hour and a half, hour 37.
yeah,
John Mulaney, Andy Samberg, Seth Rogen, and J.K. Simmons playing the leads.
yeah. Exciting stuff.
I love Roger Rabbit. I do.
Oh, as do I. I don't. I want to dare somebody in our audience to say they don't like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I love the intersection between like children's animation and adult humor.
Oh, the live action meets animation was so nice. Like I didn't think that was something that you needed in your life, but after seeing it with when I was a kid, it's so unique because you don't really see it that often.
Live action Scooby-Doo film 2002 was probably my biggest introduction to the split between animation and live action,
Right.
of which I've spoken about frequently on this podcast.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, come back next week for our Rescue Rangers reaction.
Chip and Dale.
Yeah, never thought I'd say that, but here we are.
John Mulaney's taking a bit of flack.
Really?
Yeah, right now he was trending on the Bird app, Twitter. It was just like yesterday. I was reading about it, and it's like they're just mad that Dave Chappelle is his opener on his tour. And like I get it, like yeah, Dave Chappelle, like stop making such just distasteful jokes. Come on, like you're not funny. No one finds you funny anymore except for jerks who just want to hear somebody air their grievances.
Right.
The only people that enjoy Dave Chappelle's stand-up these days are the ones that just want to hear somebody rant about transgender people, which is wrong. And John Mulaney, do better.
Yeah. And on that note, because I don't really have a say in the matter other than I've seen the crap or the people. How do I word this? I've seen some of the things that Chappelle has said, and I understand why people are angry. But other than that, I agree that it is distasteful. But like, I didn't really hear the jokes. I don't listen to Dave Chappelle, so like, I don't really, if that makes it, like, I don't have like a say in the matter.
They're not funny. That's the thing. Like a lot of the old Dave Chappelle stuff, like Chappelle Show, I've seen a lot of those. I've seen most of his stand-up before he kind of went off the rails, and it's all so funny. It's like just gold. If you just based it on some of his early stuff alone, he would definitely be a contender for the GOAT, the greatest of all time. But now I think that crown has fallen off the top of his head because he's just such a hateful guy. It's sad. It sucks. Like when there's like a 45 or 50-year-old guy that's just like hateful to a minority group. It's like I got over that like in middle school, bro.
Right.
Come on.
Like move on. Just
yeah.
Let's be adults.
Like yeah, people are different. You don't have to like attack people. Like it's childish and it's pathetic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And on that note, we're gonna move on to our next piece of news. You're gonna love this one. Are you ready for it, Cole?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Rita Moreno. She was cast as Dom's grandmother in Fast X, The Family. Extends.
Oh! Whoa! Wow! Whoa!
I know, right? Like, brother, this is like cinema-shattering news.
Yeah.
Everybody go see Fast X. It doesn't matter if you've seen 1 through 9 or not. Rita Moreno is expanding The Family.
Wait, Fast X?
Yep.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. Rita Moreno. I don't know who Rita Moreno is.
I don't either. That was the.
I've never heard of this woman.
Yeah, like
Rita.
I'm looking at this, and like she's in like the West Side Story, like the original.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good one though.
Is she? Oh, it is. It's great. Like she's in a lot of really good stuff. It's just.
Man, they're saying this new West Side Story is better than the old West Side Story.
Yeah, I've heard that. See, it's produced by Steven Spielberg. It might even be directed by Spielberg. And that's what I've heard before it was released, and then I just didn't watch it for whatever reason. Yeah, it was directed by Spielberg.
When will Ansel Elgort stop playing teenagers?
Will
he ever stop playing teenagers?
No. How old is he?
28.
Yeah, my boy. Baby Driver. He wasn't a teenager in Baby Driver.
Oh no, yeah, that's weird. He's like, not a teenager there, but now he still plays teenagers from time to time.
Yeah, every film he's been in since has been just kids.
I mean, but like I'm looking here at some photos of him on Google Images. Handsome man, truly.
Just oogle, just like legions of people just oogle over him.
Yeah, oogling on the Google.
Right.
But like, if I was an alien saying I just had been conditioned to understand culture and art through cinema, I'd look at this man and say he's 14.
Oh yeah. Oh, you think he just doesn't age?
13.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, but no,
Yeah,
he's
he's
28.
28.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, yeah. But moving on.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that.
Rita Moreno.
Rita Moreno, let's go.
Let's see. Let's see if she was bad back in the day.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, she was never quite. Not my type.
And I'm proud of you to admit that, because I feel like we've not heard not your type. I feel like every episode we always find someone who is.
Is my type. Yeah, I specifically do not like Rita Moreno. If I see her on the street, she's gonna catch a knuckle sandwich.
Okay.
Big time. Let's
Okay.
move on.
Family.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna list a number of trailers that dropped in the last week, and I want you to tell me which one you are most excited for.
Sure.
All right. So first up, the new Gray Man trailer dropped. That's the Russo brothers' next project, and it stars Ryan Gosling against Chris Evans. I'm looking through here. The first trailer for the David Bowie doc, Moon Age Dream, dropped, and that one will be shown at the Cannes Film Festival.
Called Moon Age Daydream.
Daydream, sorry. I was not corrected on this. I was mispronouncing the Cannes Festival for forever. I was calling it the Cannes Festival. I didn't know how to pronounce it. It's like Ken. It's like Cannes. Like, that's it. You just don't like. It's French.
I've always heard it Cannes
Festival. Yeah.
The Cannes Festival.
Yeah, just mispronouncing it. But now that we got that out of the way,
Do they have a woman playing Bowie?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think they've done that in the past with like renditions of David Bowie. They've had him played by a woman.
I mean, in this movie they might then. Moon Age Daydream. Let's see who plays. Movie. Let's see it. Who plays you? Oh, nothing. There's nothing.
I
about
can't
this
find
film
any.
yet.
Yeah,
There's nothing about this film yet. It's just straight up.
they've got Bowie playing Moon Age.
Essentially, you good?
Apologies.
You good? You gonna survive?
Yeah, I had a hair in the throat.
Ah, I feel you. So, but this could essentially just be just a hodgepodge of like a legit doc, like no actors, like
Footage.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's what it seems to be, a docu-film.
Yeah.
They describe it to be.
Okay. So to recap, we've got The Gray Man, we've got Moon Age Daydream, we've got up next Thor: Love and Thunder's official trailer dropped.
Okay.
And we got the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning trailer dropped.
Yeah, Mission Impossible, it's like I don't really do the franchise action films. I'm sorry, guys. Not me. I'm sure I would enjoy them, but it's not something that I just, say. I just cannot wait to see the new Jason Bourne film. I can't wait to see what Bourne is up to this year, or Mission Impossible. I'm not a Tom Cruise guy. I think I've got some things to talk about, later to do with that. Maybe even a bit idea. The Thor: Love and Thunder trailer I saw this morning, and let me tell you, Ryan, Gore the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale, looks absolutely terrifying. Looks like he could be the Marvel villain of the ages. Like, you talk about a bad dude.
Listen, man. He is going to like heads will be rolling.
Yeah.
Like what's the sword called? Is it all black? Listen. That thing made from the bones of an Eternal.
Oh.
Or a Celestial or something like that. I don't remember. Something similar to that. It's gnarly, and Christian Bale looks the scariest he's ever looked. And he gives well, I heard somewhere someone say, and I thought it was hilarious, he gives Voldemort a run for his money.
He looks just like Voldemort.
He does look just like Voldemort.
He looks just like Voldemort. That's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah, I don't remember who said it. I watched it somewhere, and so I'm giving credit to whoever said that. Props to you, big guy, whoever it was. But yeah, I thought that was hilarious, because that is exactly who he looks like. But yeah, he's terrifying, and I am so excited. So that's my personal pick. I know it's basic, but I'm so hyped for Love and Thunder.
He looks just like Lord Voldemort. I saw. I'm looking here. There's a. I'll take a. What do you do? Shift Command 3 to take a screenshot. Shift Command 3. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's a piece of fake news. Christian Bale, Gore the God Butcher, first look in Thor 4 revealed. And it's just straight up not like Gore the God Butcher. Like it's like some like fan made rendition of him, and it could be the funniest thing because it looks like something off of like Power Rangers or Barney. And I'm sure some people like saw it and they were like, "Whoa!"
No, dude, send it, and that you'll be seeing it right now. There it is on your screen,
There it
right
is.
there. And so yeah, let us know what you think of the fan rendition of of Gore the God Butcher.
I think there are going to be a lot of girls that are attracted to Gore the God Butcher. Like I could see like goth girls really getting down to this on TikTok.
Really
Yeah, like
interesting.
he's got some muscles. Like he's real muscular. He's real white. And just got some black makeup on.
Yeah, listen, TikTok is a cesspool. It's a it's an interesting place.
Um, delete your TikTok. Blow up your phone. Move to like Alberta, Canada, and start farming cranberries,
There you
kids.
go.
Like that's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to tell you to do.
yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
That,
I'm definitely
but someone else can be the bigger man and do it.
Yeah, we'll get a transcript of the podcast. We'll send it to you in the mail if you ask us. So,
Very nicely, very politely.
yeah, the United States Postal Service will still be around even if you go off the grid. So,
Right, right.
keep that in mind.
Yeah. So up next, my friend, I didn't hear about this until actually earlier today, but I'm so excited for it. I don't know exactly, like, I'm not sure what it's based off of or if it's based off anything. But director George Miller, has a new movie coming out. It's called 3,000 Years of Longing. The trailer dropped, and it will star Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton.
Oh, two just phenomenal,
That's
phenomenal actors.
What
Yes.
I'm saying. Like, so I looked it up. And here's the synopsis, or here's the little 1 to 2 sentences that Google gives you. It releases in August. While attending a conference in Istanbul, Turkey, Dr. Athelia Bini happens to encounter a jinn who offers her 3 wishes in exchange for his freedom. So I'm assuming that Elba is the jinn and Tilda Swinton is Dr. Bini.
Because they could both be good genies.
Right.
Like I could see them both being cast as genies
Right.
or jinn.
Like the initial Rotten Tomato score on this film that doesn't come out for it comes out August 31st is 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't as high as I would have assumed.
But who has seen this film?
That's what I'm
Just
saying.
it was at Cannes. It was at Cannes.
Was it at Cannes?
Yeah, 2022 Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, world premiere.
Yeah, no, very fun. It was made by MGM or distributed by MGM. The production, I'm looking for all this. Adapted from The Djinn in the Nightingale's Eye, which I'm assuming is a novel or a short story. It's a novel.
It could, yeah, it's a novel.
Written by A.S. Byatt.
Let's see what A.S. Byatt wrote.
It's a 1994 collection of mythical short stories by British novelist A.S. Byatt.
Ooh, she's British.
Yeah, I would assume. So are Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba. What are you?
British.
Bro, your Patriot bald eagle blood is showing.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm trying to tell you guys here. I don't like British people.
Okay.
I never have.
Yeah.
I think they're just a bit brash.
No, I mean that's fair. I will still make my point that I made last week that British actors are the best in the world, and I will hold that.
Oh, they are. Yeah, I love the Brits. I love British media. Truly,
Right.
they give American media really a run for their money. Maybe not in terms of like music. I don't know of any like good. Like they have Adele.
Oh, they got the Gorillas.
The Gorillas. Yeah. British music.
Louis Capaldi.
I think of like a ding a ding a ding ding,
Right.
like some kind of medieval.
No,
Like
I
in my
feel you.
eyes, like if I went to England, there'd be like a jousting tournament.
Is David? Well, they have. Well, okay, the Beatles. Like, I know that's old, but they're British.
Big fan of the Fab Four, eh, Ryan?
All I'm saying, we talked about this before. The the Beatles are from the old Queen country.
Liverpool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, rank the Beatles, Ryan. How about that?
Oh god, I can't. I'm not that big a fan.
Can't rank the Beagle.
I can't
The
do it.
Beagles.
The Beagles.
We'll say number one. This is just a cursed list. Number one, Ringo.
Okay.
Number two, John. Number three, Paul McCartney. Number four, George Harrison. Which is just that's a joke list. I like George.
You just like triggered every music fan that we have. Ringo.
Yeah. They like Ringo for his personality, which is okay for like a dog or a girlfriend. Maybe not for a freaking Beatle.
Okay. I think let's get back on topic.
Okay.
This is probably the most exciting news I've had this week. Okay. Bong JoonHo. This man's next film is in the works. It is an adaptation off of Edward Ashton's novel Mickey 7. And I'm going to look that up and I'm going to tell you what the synopsis is. But he has added Naomi Ackie, Toni Collette, and Mark Ruffalo to star alongside of none other than Robert Pattinson.
No, really?
I kid you not.
No, you're kidding. You're kidding.
I'm really not. No.
Bong JoonHo next movie. Let's stick that in the Google search engine.
Bong JoonHo is probably one of my favorite directors. Just you can't. I mean, just Parasite and Snowpiercer, and you just cannot go wrong with Bong JoonHo. Let me find.
What else does Bong JoonHo have?
Snowpiercer.
Oh, I love Snowpiercer.
Yeah. I'm looking. It is a untitled. So far, it's untitled. An untitled
Memories
sci-fi.
of Murder.
Sorry, about what?
Memories of Murder is the other Bong JoonHo film that I like.
I've not seen that one yet, but I have seen the majority of his others.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
No, you're good. So the film is an untitled sci-fi film about a human expedition sent to colonize an ice planet, and credit at Filmatic on Instagram for the synopsis there.
We're going to an ice planet.
Yeah. Literally Snowpiercer off Earth.
That's what I'm saying. Like, could be like Snowpiercer tie-ins, or maybe not. But that'd be a little sophomoric, I suppose. But
who knows? But all I'm saying is that it doesn't really matter what the story is, because obviously for it to be based off of the novel has to be good enough. You look at the actors, especially Mark Ruffalo and Robert Pattinson, who are everywhere nowadays, and you put Bong JoonHo in the director's chair, and I have full faith that this is going to be a 85+% rated movie.
I mean, I don't know what Toni Collette's done throughout her career, but her Hereditary and Knives Out are both just wonderful works. So she's great. Naomi Ackie, she's awesome too. She's great.
Yeah. No, you're right. Toni Collette is a great actress as well.
What is Naomi Ackie even in? I've never seen her in any films. I lied. Oh no, she's in Star Wars. She played Lando's daughter.
Oh, that's right. She was in Lady Macbeth. I'm looking.
Master of None. I've seen all of that on Netflix. That's Aziz Ansari's show, and she's in that.
Okay, yeah.
Master of None's a great show. It's not that funny. Like, don't watch it. It's like a comedy show. Don't. It's real artsy, and it's real, like, if you live in, say, like San Francisco, you'd probably like it a lot. I do a lot of fishing. And I got a few pair of boots.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up on the farm. Not for me, but I enjoyed it because I have taste.
I love the little note, like the pat on the back. I have taste, so it was good for me.
Yeah, it was good for me. The people I grew up around probably wouldn't enjoy it, but I did, because I'm far superior to most.
And that, hey, you do not have an illusion of grandeur. You're just that good.
Oh yeah, it's not an illusion at all. It's called being eccentric. I was eccentric as a child.
Yeah.
And I am now. A lot of people have mistaken it for many things, but it's grandeur, truly.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. In our next news, WandaVision director Matt Shockman will executive produce the new Godzilla vs. Kong spin-off series titled Godzilla and the Titans, slated for release on Apple TV.
Who are the Titans?
I don't know. Probably like Mothra and like I'm trying to think of others that I remember from playing a video game of Godzilla when I was a kid.
Methuselah.
Methuselah. There you go. That's a good one.
Mm.
Hold on.
I always heard,
Monsters.
man,
Godzilla
Methuselah's from
has
the
fought.
Bible.
I know. Well, she's isn't Methuselah something that he like legit fights though? Something like that.
Yeah, Methuselah is just a big like mountain creature.
Yeah. So okay, I typed in monsters Godzilla has fought, and I got this weird website called Paste Magazine,
Mm.
and I've gotten so there are 35. Number 35 is a giant condor.
Oh yeah, I'm all about the big birds.
Oh, dude, and the next one's a giant octopus.
All about
The
the big octopi.
33 is Methuselah. Well, wait, I think we've okay. So yeah, I knew that sounded familiar because we've already seen Methuselah in King of Monsters.
Have we?
Yes.
Interesting.
I'm looking for something that stands out in terms of monsters he's fought. What is that? Oh, it's a kaiju? He's a big lobster in Ibira.
Oh,
Ibira.
how do you spell that?
Ebirah.
Ibira.
Ibira.
Oh yeah,
And
baby.
Godzilla fought that bad boy.
Hit me with that.
Yeah.
Hit me with that. I'm trying to
Dude,
see it.
giant
can it go-
ants.
Giant ants.
Yes, they're called kamakaras.
Wow.
A praying mantis is what this says, but they look like ants. They're like a praying mantis is green. These are like brown, but regardless, they look hilarious. 26 on this list is just Zilla.
That's his cousin.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's his
saying.
hood cousin.
What is Zilla? Like,
That's Zilla. You know,
I don't
Zilla
know.
Zilla.
I don't know.
That's just him. He doesn't have to explain himself. I'd like to see like a super postmodernist film just about like the governmental and societal implications
Oh,
that an event like this would have.
okay.
Not really about the action, but about the aftermath and about dealing with just living in a world where like there's been nothing supernatural happen in like recorded history. Like we've never got a ghost on camera, we've never seen like any sort of creature, and then suddenly, boom, giant lobster, giant condor.
Right.
Like, how would the average Joe deal with these things?
Cole,
That's what I've always wondered.
I have found the monster that Godzilla has to fight in this series. You ready for this?
Who is it?
Coming your way. Hold on. His name is Manila. Not to be mistaken with Manila.
Oh!
Do you see what I'm talking
Yeah! Oh, I like it.
He looks like a bad like Barney's and Friends like character.
He does. He looks like just you hit the nail on the head. It's just a Barney character.
This is another one that will be popping on your screen. What's the time code for this? Right now, 38 minutes in, you're gonna see Manila, not to be mistaken with Manila, as in Manila folder.
Or the Thriller in Manila.
Oh man.
The historic boxing match.
Yeah, a lot of weird things are happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit this one out. Manila, I think he speaks for himself. Look him up, guys.
That's what I'm saying. Well, he's also on the screen, so if you want to see him,
great.
I could keep looking through these. There's a giant spider called Kumanga.
Manga.
Oh my gosh, dude. Okay,
yeah, I like
remember this one.
Kumanga.
All right, this is gonna be the last one. Okay, this has to be because I can keep going because now I'm starting to get in the ones that I remember. But the one that I remember that like for some reason I didn't remember it being as funny. One called Jet Jaguar.
Oh yeah, Jet Jaguar.
Yeah,
Jet Jaguar. Yeah, great. Oh,
what? He's just a souped up Power Ranger.
Oh, I like him a lot actually. Is he gonna be in the new movie?
I don't know, but that's like I'm just looking through the list of people Godzilla has fought in older movies who I want to see in the next one.
They're not gonna add this guy. They're gonna look at him and say, nah,
Yeah.
probably not. Probably not Jet Jaguar.
Right.
We're gonna go with Mothra and
Right, yeah. Realistically, we're probably gonna see like Destroya, Gigan, Mothra, Violante. We've probably see Mecha Godzilla again. Yeah, we've already seen King Ghidorah. Who knows, honestly?
King Ghidorah, take me
Idris,
to your leader, huh?
yeah, we got Titanosaurus, another one that we might see. There's a lot of them here, but
I had never heard of any of these really other than the big ones, but Destroya. Destroy is like a Digimon, you know?
oh yeah, Digimon. Yes, he looks just like a Digimon.
Digimon,
Dude, I still
a
have that. Okay, we,
Digimon.
we have to move on because we're on
Okay.
40 minutes. But like, dude, that the Digimon theme song will hit my head sporadically, like in my adult life, and I will like, I don't know why. I didn't even watch Digimon like consistently. I watched it like maybe 5 times in my entire life, and that stupid Digimon theme song has yet to leave my brain.
How's it go?
It's like it's got this weird techno music, and you've got this like masculine voice going like Digimon, digital monsters, and he's like singing. Like I don't remember exactly how it goes, but I know it's
Digimon, digital monsters.
you know what I'm talking about? Like that's exactly
No.
what he says.
Oh well. I'll take your word for it. Digimon. It was like watching that or like even being exposed to any of it made me very uncomfortable as a child. And like I felt like I was cheating on Pokemon number one. Number two,
Oh.
it was a lot like going to like a weird kid from your class's
Yeah.
house and like they're eating like spaghetti sandwiches and they wipe their butt before they poop and you're like I just want to go home. Like I don't like this.
Right.
This is not meant for me. I'm not conditioned for this by any means. I don't like it
Right.
when you evolve your Digimon and it's like a dog and then it evolves and it's like a toaster, you know.
Right.
I'm not into that.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry, but I have to add this about Manila. Okay. I didn't realize this. His parent is Godzilla.
Like, but is
Min
it like asexual
I don't know. It
reproduction?
says so it says family, Godzilla, adoptive father in parentheses outside of it.
Is that legal? Like,
I,
did
I don't know. He's,
did he sign like
God,
forms and things?
Godzilla showed up to a courthouse.
Yeah.
And then it says counterpart, Godzilla Jr.
Oh,
Look up Godzilla
is
Jr.
that his brother?
Yeah,
It's like his adopted brother,
look at Godzilla Jr.
Godzilla Jr. Oh no! Well, the Godzilla Jr. is actually he's pretty dope, actually.
Dude, like, well, I mean, like, depending on which one you get, like, one of them,
Yeah, he's been at 18 of the Godzilla films.
dude, like, cause like, I didn't realize there were so many iterations of Godzilla Jr. I'm looking at one that looks kind of cool. He looks kind of like his dad. I never thought I'd be referring to Godzilla as someone's father. But when I look at like this one image that I'm seeing here, which I may or may not throw in there as well, depending. I don't want to keep throwing in random articles of pictures. But Godzilla Jr. looks kind of cool. He's Godzilla but green with no like spikes on his back as far as I can see. And then there's this other one where he looks like another Barney member.
He's just like a toy. He's
Yeah,
not even like
he's
I'm sure they had like he's like a puppet or something.
yeah, like his eyes are huge and brown.
Yeah, don't if I come to your house ever, any of my fans, don't put on the movie with Godzilla Jr. who looks like a McDonald's toy.
Oh, that's you know he does look a lot like one of those like remember in those old McDonald's commercials where Ronald McDonald had like pals?
Oh yeah.
He
Oh, I know all his friends.
yeah, that's like Godzilla Jr. in that specific iteration looks like he would be one of Ronald McDonald's friends.
Grimace.
Yes, like he and Grimace would be fighting.
Grimace, I didn't like Grimace. I liked those the Hamburglar, obviously. Like he's the best one.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Like yeah, I like the Hamburglar. I'm gonna be the Hamburglar for Halloween this
Yeah.
year.
There we go.
But I liked those little side burgers they had. Like they were just like burgers that just kind of walked around. It was like an entourage of like cheeseburgers with legs.
Yeah.
And like you would go to a McDonald's in your childhood. Just imagine you're a kid and you
Oh,
go to
I'm in it.
McDonald's
I'm in
and
it. I'm
like
walking in.
yeah.
My
You
dad's dragging me through the parlor of the McDonald's. I'm going
you
up to the
sm-
menu.
you smell like vinegar, but you've never tried vinegar, so it's a
Right.
real weird time,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You,
Yep.
you order your food, and you sit down, and like the chairs
Hmm?
are shaped like those side piece cheeseburgers.
Yes.
Yeah, you sit down, you eat. Life's good. You catch the flu in the ball pit
Did I
when
open
you get
my
to miss
my
school.
toy yet?
And the toys, listen, guys, listen. It's crazy. It like this is the America we're living in. When me and Ryan were kids, to all my Gen Zers out there, when me and Ryan were kids, you went to McDonald's and they gave you a toy. You got a toy. You got a toy, like a real toy, something that you could buy, you could peddle at a toy store, and someone would buy it.
Right.
Now it's like you get a little like piece of cardboard with like, I don't know, like a moral on it, a lesson.
Yeah.
It's like a fortune cookie. They
I-
give you a fortune cookie now.
Do you remember when they would have like the toys like in like a case almost at the front so you could see what you could get?
Yeah, like every couple weeks.
It would
You have
change.
the boy toys and the girl toys. I'm pretty sure they didn't get rid of that until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, like maybe just before the pandemic.
Well, I didn't even realize they weren't giving out toys anymore.
Well, they're toys, but they're more like what you get in a Cracker Jack box now.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just life is just so it's capitalism, guys. We won't go too far into it, but the capitalism is a cancer.
Listen, McDonald's went downhill when they went from having like the colorful buildings to like the formal black and gray with the yellow M on it. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
it's like the Pixies from Fairly Odd Parents took over.
Yes, like that's exactly what happened. Like it's unfortunate. Oh,
Yeah, it's
Pixies.
awful.
That's another group I haven't thought of. They have a theme song.
Oh, Pixies. Where is my mind?
Yeah.
Where I play that on guitar sometimes.
Yeah?
That's like one of the only songs that I know how to sing and play at the same time.
Is from the Pixies.
Yeah. Surfer Rosa, 1992, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I got 3 more things of cinema news before we move on, and I'm gonna shoot them all at you right at once, and I want you to pick the one that sticks out to you the most, and we're gonna discuss that very briefly. Are you ready?
Sure.
Number 1, director John Watts is working on a secret Star Wars project. Number 2, Warner Brothers Discovery heads, the new rulers and leaders of the realm of Warner Brothers, want more Harry Potter despite Dumbledore's results in the box office. And 3, Samuel L. Jackson is added to the new Garfield movie alongside of none other than Chris Pratt.
I don't care about that last one at all. Like, yeah, get that out of the list. Warner Brothers, more Harry Potter. Sure, makes them a lot of money. John Watts, secret Star Wars film. That's the one that I'm pretty excited about. I completely crapped all over John Watts and said that he probably wasn't that good of a director because he has no discernible style a couple podcast episodes ago. But this makes me excited.
Just because there's a chance for him to differentiate himself.
Of course, and I think that where Marvel, and this was one of my big film opinions for this week, where Marvel, I think, is going to experience just a steady downhill decline, where maybe in 5 to 10 years time, it's a very niche thing, and it still has a very big fan base, but it's going to be so far out of the mainstream because I think a lot of people are going to lose interest. But I think that Star Wars is only going to grow in popularity. It's only going to get bigger.
So what's your other? So now that we're here, before we end this recording, let's go ahead and get this segment. This segment's going to be shortened to 2 opinions because we've got so much cinema to talk in the next. Give me your other one. That was your first one. What's your second?
I think that streaming services are just going to end pretty soon.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, that most that the jailbroken Fire Stick.
Right. Yeah.
Where it's like it's a very slick and accessible user interface, but you can get any movie that you like. It's not legal. You're not, the creator's not getting paid. I think that most people are there's going to be a product like that come out, or a service that's like, yeah, we have every movie. You just have to watch ads, watch commercials. I think that's going to be the status quo pretty soon.
Do you think
People are getting tired of these. It's just because it was cool when it was just Netflix and like Hulu, right?
Right.
But now that you have to have like History Channel Plus to watch Pawn Stars, that's not a real thing. But you know what I'm trying to say.
No, I do know what you mean though.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you think that the world's going to turn into like a giant single place for on demand with commercials.
I think so. Either that or people are just going to start pirating everything.
That's reasonable. I mean, people do that already, but like that's
Right.
definitely something that could get worse. Yeah, no, I completely understand, and I actually don't disagree with you. I think that you're definitely onto something.
People are pretty tired of just all these new. The addition of Disney Plus was really wasn't the nail in the coffin, but it was a signpost of the downhill
Right.
sort of trend
I,
that
I liked
the
it.
streaming services. Oh, I do too, but it's just that you have to pay for so many that it's becoming more than what you
Yeah.
pay for cable.
Yeah. Oh no, facts. Yeah. Which was the original appeal to streaming services.
Well, and it just seems like we pretty much before this had a way that you could watch any movie that you wanted at any time that you wanted. And you could watch, you could have as many as you wanted. And that was called the video store. You go to the video store and they have every movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are going to be some specialized and independent films that aren't going to be there, obviously, but every big movie, every big studio movie that's ever really come out was at the video store, Blockbuster, whatever. And that was a pretty good system. I liked that one a lot. I was alive for just the end of it, right before
Mm-hmm.
Netflix was a big thing. But I liked that. I wish we could go back to that.
Yeah. Um. We've crossed the 50-minute threshold on our first segment, so I'm gonna give my two really quickly. For me, growing up, this is a completely personal opinion. Don't shoot me down in the street for it. So I grew up watching both Pirates of the Caribbean and Harry Potter around the same time all throughout my childhood, and I see them both at around the same level. Like I don't see one over the other. I know that's way off. I know that Harry Potter is like the superior. Like I'm aware of that fact, but personally, where I grew up watching them both, they were always the same.
Are you talking about the first three Pirates movies? Or are you
Yes.
talking about all the
I'm
Pirates
talking about
movies?
the ones that came out when I was a child, like when the ones that were coming out together. Because the fifth one came out in 2016, and the fourth in 2012. So Fringe four, but one through three Pirates, and then all of the Harry Potters. I always saw like they all were coming out at about the same time, and I watched them all back before I was assessing and like judging film.
Yeah.
So it was like I always saw them as the same, and so that in my mind, when I watch Pirates of the Caribbean, and I understand that it's not as a highly coveted franchise, it's still coveted, but nowhere near on the level as Harry Potter. But when I like say like, oh yeah, I love Pirates of the Caribbean and I love Harry Potter, I always see them as the same, and I get weird looks sometimes.
I think if they would have ended the Pirates films on three, then we'd be viewing them as some of the best, some of the most quintessential saga, not sagas, I guess, but
I do know what you mean.
big franchise,
Yeah.
films. But it's better to go out in a blaze of glory than it is to fizzle. Um, and you
I
never
think
want to
four
jump the
was
shark.
okay. Four wasn't the best, but it was okay. Five was awful, but four was all right. Like I feel like it gets some hate for things that it couldn't help, but
Uh, Characters just have a real quality of becoming caricatures of themselves,
yeah.
and that's what happened with Depp's Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. And my next one, actually refers to A24. We talked about them earlier. I feel like they don't really commit to creators. They kind of bounce around. They're kind of like, okay, what's the next story? And I know a lot of people, especially that are in our major, that like cinema like we do, that when they discuss A24, they're either like, oh yeah, like we are, or they're like, yeah, because like of what you said about Men, they can kind of like A24 can be hit or miss, and a lot of people that I think that drags them down when they're such a phenomenal production company. So I put they need to commit to creators slash writers. They need to have like you know how Nolan was stuck with Warner Brothers for forever. Warner Brothers was like, okay, you're gonna sign this contract because we're gonna give you all the creative freedom you want. And only recently did Nolan leave that, and he was under Warner. He didn't make a non Warner Brothers movie for 20 years. And look,
See, I didn't know that.
oh yeah, no, like look at all the movies. I'm pretty sure from like Batman Begins through Tenet, any Nolan movie was, or most Nolan movies in that time frame, maybe even a little bit before that, they were all Warner Brothers, if I'm not mistaken. Because I know that
Wow,
that like
wow.
that's why it was such a big deal when he left for was it Universal? Yes.
Well, Nolan really is one of the best. Truly, I mean, he's in the argument for top three.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Yeah. Nolan, it doesn't seem like he can touch anything, and it'd be bad. A24, I found that there's some degree of homogenization amongst their films. They all are shot so beautifully and so well, but they look the same. And it seems like there are a lot of similar, maybe not themes, but similar just ways of storytelling. And they're very drama centric, aside from, say, the horror
Yeah.
films that they put out, which they put out great horror. Um, it seems like they are the most original films that
Oh, they're
come out,
very original. Yeah.
the most, like, as they say, artsy or whatever. But there still is just a level of like similarness from film to film that they have, and like I you would imagine that that would be the case with they all probably have the same editors and things, or I don't know, but it just seems like I haven't seen all the A24 films. There are so many, so
Right.
many.
Right.
There are, oh my gosh, if you look at the list of A24 films, it goes on and on.
Oh yeah, I don't. I'm not meaning as in like, oh, they need to keep the same editors and stuff, because you can tell just by watching them that like a lot of the creative team on the production side, they're very similar. I mean,
Right.
in terms of like the creative ability, like they shouldn't have let Robert Eggers go to Focus Features.
Okay.
Like the
Yeah.
Northman should not have been a Focus Features film.
It should have been an A24.
It should have stayed an A24 film. I feel like
Absolutely.
them not holding on to creators, I feel like hurt them a little bit because it's either a hit or a miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What have been some of the big misses that they've had?
Let me go back to A24 because some of them are just weird. Like I'm not gonna say Men was bad, but like it's definitely it definitely depends on who you are.
Ooh,
Uh,
I didn't like It Comes at Night.
The Green
I didn't
Knight,
really
It
enjoy
Comes at
it.
Night was weird. I've heard not a lot of people like. Well, not Lady Bird. Let me keep going through.
I don't think I understand Lady Bird. Like I'm not.
It's
It's
like
not for
it's just
me.
exactly. It's just like meh. I'm looking through here.
I mean, I'm sure if you are like a girl with a mother, you know,
Right.
you understand it. But like I'm a guy with a mother. It's nothing like Lady Bird.
Like
Hey mom, dear mom, our relationship is nothing like an A24 film.
right.
Let's be glad of it.
Like I liked Swiss Army Man, but like I feel like it has its issues. I'm just looking through all these, and there's just like I don't know. Like there's one called like what is this one? Ooh, there's one 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 5 out of 5 on Empire Online, and 7.2 on IMDb. It's called Red Rocket.
Oh, Red Rocket.
Yeah,
Sure. Is
that
it
one.
about say
Uh,
like canine phallus?
Mikey Saber, charismatic conman and washed-up porn star, plots his return to the big time from small-town Texas in his story of an American hustler in a hometown that barely tolerates him.
It sounds great. It
It
sounds
sounds,
like the type of movie I want to watch.
yeah. So like they definitely have their good movies, but it's just like I don't know. Like they come out with so many, and not a lot of them. Well, a decent amount of them, but like not all of them are what they probably could have been.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just. I mean, it's not so much that one's not like a hard take. That's not me being like, oh, dude, A24 sucks because I like A24 a lot. I don't know. I feel like if they had some loyalty with their creators, I would have liked to have seen what A24 would have done with The Northman. The Northman's already a phenomenal film. Why didn't they do that?
Yeah, I don't know. Moving on, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's it. That is it for our first and second segment, and we'll be moving on to film reviews. Here we go. Okay, so last week we were hyping up 4 movies. Citizen Kane and Mank because they're connected. I know obviously Fincher didn't do Citizen Kane because Citizen Kane came out in 1941, but he did do Mank, which is about the story of the screenplay or the screenwriter that wrote Citizen Kane. And that's why they're connected. That's why we connected them both. And then after that, we will do Fincher's probably 2 of his most well-known films outside of like Fight Club and The Social Network in Zodiac and Seven. So, my friend, are you ready to start?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, so I'll start with Citizen Kane because it came out first and it is phenomenal. It's considered one of the best movies of all time. I know for sure it's on AFI's number one, and on their top 100 films of all time, is AFI is number one. The American Film Institute. And I think it's on the BFI number one. I could be way wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the British Film Institute has it at number one as well. It is a story of love and loss. It is so depressing. It is so sad, but like the way the story is told, it's intricate. It is, but it's also straightforward. Um, it's just so executed so well, especially for the time. And it earns, in my opinion, it earns its best film of all time rating. Obviously that's dependent on who you are, but like everyone, regardless if you're a cinephile, regardless if you're studying film, if you just like movies, you should watch it just as a point of emphasis because this movie inspired so much after it. So let's go ahead and dive into the story, shall we?
Sure.
So the very beginning of Citizen Kane is a recap, a very quick recap of the life of the man, the myth, the legend, Charles Foster Kane. Charles Foster Kane was the owner of the New York Enquirer, and he was a businessman. He was a very powerful, failed politician due to scandal with his second wife. And I'll get to that in a minute. But a failed politician, a super wealthy businessman leading up to the Great Depression, who died alone in his house, in his mansion. It's not even a mansion; it's a palace. Called Xanadu, and it's called Xanadu's Mountain, and it's like I said, it's this huge palace where this hoarder, this collection like fiend, Charles Foster Kane has all of his wealth and all of his money and all of his statues and all these different collectibles there, like wealthy collectibles. Like even by today's standards, like think about that. Like that's how much wealth this guy had in this film. For that, from 1941 to 2022, you still look at all that crap and you're like, that's wealthy.
Yeah.
The film begins with like you get a shot of outside of the fence of Xanadu, and then you get into the bedroom of this old man, and he's lying there, and not lying, he's sitting in a chair in front of a fireplace at night, and he's got a snow globe in his hand, and he's sitting there, and it zooms into his mouth, and he whispers the word rosebud, and then he drops the snow globe. The snow globe shatters, and he's dead. This man was Charles Foster Kane. Fast forward to everything I just said, you kind of get a quick glimpse of his life because the film right after he's dead is a newsreel that is being prepared by journalists and yellow journalists at the time, which yellow journalists, for those that aren't history like nerds like I am, they were what journalism was before it kind of took the turn that it did today. These were people that were more for entertainment value. They were more for editorializing known facts, as in, like, for instance, the Spanish-American War for Cuba was caused directly by yellow journalists because they accused Spain of blowing up one of America's ships in FDR, or not FDR, sorry, Teddy Roosevelt's Great White Fleet, one of the huge fleets in the United States Navy at the time. It blew up because of a malfunction. But because it was near Cuba and because America and Spain were in kind of America was mad at Spain more so, these yellow journalists said, oh, Spain blew it up, and the rest of the nation believed it. That's the kind of people these guys are, right?
Wow.
That's who Charles Foster Kane is. In fact,
Oh.
in Citizen Kane, they directly reference the Spanish-American War.
Okay.
So that's a little
So he's made all this money from the journals that he's published.
Essentially. So I guess I should preface, because Charles Foster Kane is a man born into wealth, but not by his choosing, and not in the way you would think. So you see him first. I think he's originally from South Dakota, and the Kane family, they are very poor, and they make money by running a schoolhouse. The mom was a teacher, and the dad was kind of a drunk. And the mom and her family, it's Colorado. I'm sorry, it's Colorado. They were on this. I think it was either gold or oil or some sort of mineral. It's called the Colorado Lode, and in this lode that was originally thought to be empty, they find this this amalgamation of wealth, right? Just this insane level of money, and so she decides to sell it to a bank, or it's more of the public trust company, or the public transit company, something like that, right? But with that, she also gave them her son. She said, "You're going to take him and you're going to give him a better life." So essentially, Charles Foster Kane's like adoptive family was this bank. And
Oh,
yeah. And
weird.
yeah, his
Strange.
father was essentially a guy named Mr. Thatcher, Walter Park Thatcher, who ran like the most of the money in this public transit company. And the way that it was set was that the parents, in exchange for all this, like the public transit got all the shares in this load, they got to raise this kid to kind of groom as the next Thatcher, right? They would give the parents like $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year, something back in the time that was ridiculous, right? And this was like in the
Lots and lots of money.
1880s, right? Something ridiculous. So Charles Foster Kane grows up, and he grows up with this kind of stipulation from the bank, like when you turn 20, or every year until you turn 25, we're going to throw all these shares, all this money into a bank, into your bank account, and then when you turn 25, you are now the sole runner of our company. You're the sole like overseer of all these public shares and all this money. And when you turn 25, like we don't hold it, you hold it, and then you go on with your life. So you kind of get quick glimpses of how Foster Kane was seen as this like he's a like, how do I word this? He's a troubled child. He said at one point near the beginning, he said, "I always choked on that silver spoon," because he grew up, he went from having nothing to having everything, but he didn't want the money. And that's never more prevalent than at the very beginning when he turns 25. Thatcher's like, "Okay, it's time for you to take my place. It's time for you to start running these shares." He's in the movie. Thatcher says, and I quote, I shouldn't say that because it's not a direct quote, but he says something like, "You own the sixth largest share of any company in the world. You are one of the most wealthiest men in the world. You own 82,364 shares in this public trust company or transit company." And Kane could not care less. He's like, I have no interest. Like he writes back in a letter to Thatcher from college. He's like, "I don't want to run this, but the one thing that I have interest in is the New York Inquirer, and I want to run a newspaper. I think it'd be fun." And that's how he makes his own wealth. He's very wealthy, and he loses $1 million a year originally trying to run this newspaper. But he eventually gets it. Like he buys out the competition with the best writers in the world or in the New York. It grows into this nationwide like newspaper company. And so while he has this kind of in his back pocket, he has all these shares and he has all this money. He didn't want it, and so he became a man that grew his own wealth.
I see.
So then all of a sudden now he's double the amount of money he was worth, and he was already a millionaire, right?
Right.
So now he's one of the most wealthy men in the world. He always talked about how he was a how did he word it? He was a specialist in what people think. Because he ran the newspaper and he thought that he could just write whatever and they would just believe it. And so he gets married to they didn't say which president. I don't remember which president, but his first marriage was to the president's niece. And his whole life was you seeing as his money grew, he got married, he had a kid, and you could kind of see him getting more and more bitter. Like at the very beginning, he writes this statement to the public about how like the original reason he wanted the Inquirer was because, "Oh, I'm wealthy and I know I'm wealthy, but also someone has to look out for the people. Someone has to spread the truth." So he writes on the front page of this newspaper the first night that he owns it. He gets printed like kind of like a declaration of what he stands for and who he is. And one of his friends by the name of Jedediah Leland, who helped him open it, was like, "I'm going to save this because you might need it later." Foreshadowing. But yeah, and so, but it's sad because you see, not only did you see him like be like, "I don't want this wealth. I'm gonna make my own wealth. I'm gonna be my own man," and he does, and he gets this really prominent marriage, and he has a kid and a child who we learn later both his wife, his first wife, and his son die in a car crash. Which we don't see on camera. Like that was very like they just kind of mention it.
I wish we could have seen it on camera.
I know, yeah, but back in 1941, there was limitations on what you could and couldn't do. Is what I'm assuming, but
naturally,
yeah, but like the whole story is about this man gaining everything. He already had everything, but he gained everything he wanted, and he slowly lost it. So, but the biggest point of the story that I love is that you remember at the beginning when I said that the whole movie, like the first 5 minutes, is a quick newsreel of his life, like it speeds you
Right.
through it. Once that newsreel is over, it turns the camera kind of like it cuts and it turns and it turns out you were watching with the journalist who made it, who made the newsreel.
Oh,
And the editor in chief of that journalist or whatever, the boss of that journalist was like, go talk to everyone in this man's life and get this life story, figure out what Rosebud meant. Why did he say Rosebud?
well,
And
how did they know that that was his last word?
he had a nurse in the room,
Oh,
so
I
the
see.
nurse was like spreading it, and it got into all the newspapers and stuff. And so the whole story, everything I've told you so far, is this journalist going and talking to his old business associates, his second wife, and every time he goes to talk to them, it flashes back to their younger selves.
I see.
And it's so well done. Like, it's beautiful. And it's really cool because, like, it changes in perspective, too. Like, if the perspective of that character runs out, the flashback will be over, and it'll pick up with another character that was there after that happened later.
I see.
It's really unique, like even for today's standard. Um, but yeah, and so he goes around. He talks to, like I said, Jed Leland, who was a writer for Kane. There's another one I can't remember what his name was. There was another dude who helped write for him. I can't remember his name to save my life. But regardless, he runs for political office, and his opponent sheds light on the fact that Kane was seeing this much younger girl constantly, and her name was Susan Alexander. And that causes a a rift to happen between he and his first wife, and then she dies, and a week or two after she's dead, he marries Susan Alexander.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's how you do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so we're being sarcastic, by the way. Um,
No, we're not.
we are. But after that, then after that, he still has his wealth. It's kind of getting into the 1930s and the Great Depression. Um, he wants his second wife to be successful like he is because it helps his image. So she is not a good like she's when I watched it, I was like that doesn't sound like bad singing to me, but apparently she's an awful opera singer. And he spends all this money to build her own opera house and to take her on tour and pay for her own singing coach, and she just doesn't want to sing, but because he thinks it make them look good, he forces her to. And so she just gets thrashed in all these papers, and it's really sad to see him kind of divulge into the thing he hated most throughout the story. Because, like I said at the beginning, this is a story about loss, just straight up. Like this man, he had everything, but he had nothing, and then he earned what he felt like he worked hard and he earned it honestly, and then he out of his own tunnel vision, he lost it, and he died alone. And it's so sad and it's so just rich with story. Like it's 2 hours long and I almost feel like it should be four. Like I wanted to see more. Every time I've watched it 2 or 3 times, and every time it ends, I'm like, I want to see more. Like I want to dive deeper into these characters because they're so complex, and some of the lines they say are so like thought provoking, and it's so unique, and like it's genuinely like it's. I know it's probably like I don't want to say like as a film major, it's probably like a basic thing to be like, yeah, Citizen Kane's one of my favorite movies. But it genuinely, every time I see it, it's like watching it for the first time.
And you enjoy watching it.
Dude, like I could turn it on right now.
Really?
No, seriously, like if someone put it on right now, I would sit and watch it.
What's more entertaining, 12 Angry Men or Citizen Kane?
Citizen Kane.
I've got to see it then.
No, and that's my personal opinion. You could think differently. I'm not saying like I'm not here trying to make decisions for you or the audience, right? But just personally, I understand why it's got the audience rating it does. I understand why it's considered the best film of all time.
Well, what is Rosebud?
So I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it, I guess, because like I almost don't want to, but like it's so sad because like this journalist goes around and all these people are like, I don't know what Rosebud is, I don't know, and then they brush it off and then they tell their story, and that's how you see it, right? No one knows what Rosebud is. And I guess I should preface at the very beginning when Mr. Thatcher takes young Kane, he's playing in the snow, he has a sled, he's building a snowman, and he's just a kid, and then he kind of got thrown into this, right?
Right.
So at the end, you see Susan Alexander Kane leave him. She says like he was always in control of everything, but the one thing he couldn't control was me leaving. And so you see her leave, and you see him kind of like he's down and out. Like he, for a minute there when she's leaving, he's like, "Please don't go. Like it'll be whatever way you want it." And you could tell he's being sincere. And then the last thing he said to her before she left was, "You can't do this to me." And it was like his ego couldn't let go of the fact of how like he couldn't stop thinking of how people would look at him instead of just trying to get his wife to stay. Because without her, he's alone.
Oh my gosh,
And
that's
it's
so heavy.
oh yeah, oh it's so sad. Like even, she points it out too, because like you could tell like it cuts back and forth, like you know over the shoulder talking conversational cuts, and you could tell like it cuts back right before he says that, and she's like you could tell she's kind of believing it, and she's like oh man like maybe I should stay, and then he says that, and then she's like oh it's about you, like it's never about like what like she goes on this whole like kind of quick monologue, and then she leaves. And then he like tears her room apart. Like he breaks glass and he's shattering everything. That's where he finds the snow globe. Is in her room, and he
Mm.
walks out with it, and he whispers Rosebud. He dies. The journalist goes and talks to Kane's butler, and he's like, I don't know what it is, and he tells the end of the story. And at the end, that journalist, they asked him, they're like, do you know what Rosebud was? And he said no. And they were like, so all this was just a waste of time. What were you doing? He was like, and he said some just beautiful monologue. The last sentence of like true dialogue with the journalist is probably one of the most beautiful lines I've ever read in my life, and or heard in my life. And I should really pull it up because he
Read
says
them, yeah. Let's hear them.
here I will find it because it's hold on I promise I'm trying to Citizen Kane uh hold on. No, not Kane. I don't want to know what Citizen Kane said. Hold on. Let me look up Citizen Kane script. Screenplay. Yep, there we
I don't know
go.
if I've ever even seen like
Herman
I
J.
don't know.
Mankiewicz. So remember that name because that is important for the next film that we go over.
Okay.
Hold on. So he says, so someone says, "What is Rosebud? Don't you think that me explains anything or everything?" Like she kind of says, like, "Oh, maybe Rosebud will like clear this whole thing up." And Thompson, who's a journalist, he says, "No, I don't think so. Not much anyway. Charles Foster Kane was a man who got everything he wanted and then lost it. Maybe Rosebud was something he couldn't get or lost. No, I don't think it explains anything. I don't think any word explains a man's life. No, I guess Rosebud is just a piece of a jigsaw puzzle, a missing piece."
Okay.
And that's the end of the film.
That's the end.
So, well, technically, so there is one more scene, and the butler named Raymond, who the journalist was talking to at the end, it's this twist that he's burning all of Foster Kane's stuff in the furnace downstairs, and they throw his old like his childhood sled in there, and on the sled it says Rosebud.
So the most important thing in his life was just like his whimsical childhood.
Yeah,
Like before he was thrown into this life of wealth and
yeah,
influence and
like
acclaim.
the last thought of his life of luxury, of heartbreak, of wealth was of the time before all that.
It's a tale as old as time, right?
Yeah.
Money don't make you happy, guys.
No, you have to like regardless if you know what Rosebud is or not, it doesn't take away from it. You have to watch this film. I don't care what you have to do. Watch this film. Like that's all I'm gonna say on that one because like I've given the synopsis. It's a great film. It's one like I said, it's the best film of all time, and I don't think it'll ever be surpassed for me. But yeah.
So were there any other true discernible like social messages that are portrayed by this film?
There's more, but you just gotta watch it because it's way ahead of its time. Because like for something that came out in 1940s, World War II, pre 1950s, like before, like this was like when the picket fence family was a thing, the nuclear family,
Exactly.
and it, the husband's the household, he's like the man of the house, and he rules the house, and it's like this is like going against that in so many ways because in almost any circumstance that Foster Kane is in with women, they take control of the situation.
Okay.
Like I can't explain more because you just need to watch it. Like when you take into account the time that it was in and the social stratus that was kind of around them, um, in the real world, it's really incredible that they were able to do some of the things that they were doing with the messages and the social like what they said about society. So yeah, no, watch this film. Like you could watch it and then be like, that man Ryan is looking too much into it, and you're probably right, but I loved it. But yeah, any thoughts on my synopsis?
Um, it you did a really good job of describing it. Like, I feel like I've seen the movie now, and of course I haven't, and I don't understand the magic of this film, but I've heard of it my whole life, and I've every movie list that's like top 100 films of all time. It's like top five, sure, maybe usually either top five or number one. It's like the a day in the life of films. Um, and I'm excited to see it. I really am. So tell me a bit about Mank.
Okay, so Mank. Now we're into Fincher officially. I know it took us an hour and 20 minutes to get there.
We're at Fincher, guys.
We're
The
at
month of
Fincher.
David Fincher.
Is ending. It's so sad.
It ends today.
Yep, this is the finale. 3 Fincher films in the next hour. Finish
What would
up.
happen? What if David Fincher died tomorrow?
I would
Like, what if?
literally
Like, what would
cry.
happen?
Like I'd be depressed because like I need to see more Fincher films.
We would be like suspects, probably.
Yeah. It would be us. They'd think that
Yes.
two college kids from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mank. I'm gonna give a much briefer description because this one's not as you can tell it was written heavily inspired by Citizen Kane about the writing of Citizen Kane. Like it's amazing. So Mank is written by David Fincher's late father.
Oh.
Yeah. His name was hold on. David Fincher. Is because he wrote Jack. Jack Fincher wrote this story, and it's about the man, the myth, the legend, Herman Mankiewicz, otherwise known as Mank, the original supposedly screenwriter of Citizen Kane. Because if you look up who wrote Citizen Kane, it will also say Orson Welles, who plays Charles Foster Kane and is the director of the movie. So, how did that happen? The whole story of Mank is about this man, and stop me if any of this sounds familiar, is about this writer who he's an alcoholic, he's kind of a slob, he's kind of a bad person. But you start the movie with him being like not airlifted, carried into a bed by ambulance in this like desolate, like kind of, how do I describe this? I apologize. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe where this house is because it's isolated, not desolate. That's a better word. An isolated house just up in the hills, and he's told he's got 90 days to write a screenplay by Orson Welles, and then Orson calls later and is like, "Oh yeah, now you have 60 days." And the rest of the story is much like Citizen Kane, is a hodgepodge of back and forth between Herman Mankiewicz's life and cutting back to him writing the story.
Okay.
And it is proven or well shown throughout the movie that a lot of the characters in Citizen Kane are directly inspired by people in Mankiewicz's life, and Charles Foster Kane himself is kind of like inspired by Herman a little bit. Like it's kind of a mixture of him and someone else. Um, but like a lot of the characters in Mank are the same as the characters in Citizen Kane because supposedly that's who Mankiewicz based them all off of. But yeah, you see this man who's got this gambling problem. He's got this drinking problem. You see as he is slowly alienated from the rest of Hollywood back in the 1930s, 1920s and 30s when it was at its highest, even during the Great Depression. MGM banned him. Not maybe Paramount. I think it's Paramount. Paramount banned him. All these like the Hollywood elites at the time were like, you're done. You're a drunk. You have like he was a socialist too. He was very very left leaning, and that was another big thing is that a lot of other people didn't like him because of that. And Charles Foster Kane's failed political aspirations were kind of resembled who Mankiewicz supported in the political race, which was what was his name? It was a writer. He wrote The Jungle. Upton Sinclair. There we go.
Upton
Yeah,
Sinclair.
real life Upton Sinclair ran for office as a socialist, as a really left leaning Democrat, socialist Democrat or whatever. And Herman Mankiewicz backed him. And what did in the movie anyway? What did down Upton Sinclair's political campaign was MGM put out false commercials for people saying, "Oh, I voted for this person for this," and Upton Sinclair went on record and said, "Yeah, that ruined my campaign. All those fake commercials."
And you used to be able to just say anything. These yellow journalists and things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, were there no like libel laws?
No. Those didn't come until like the 1950s.
Oh wow.
So this is like 20 plus years before that. And so obviously Charles Foster Kane, while he did kind of he wasn't having an affair, but his failed political aspirations kind of resemble Upton Sinclair, and Charles Foster Kane's kind of like his growing into people hating him for how he acted was definitely based off of Mank himself, who he had an affair with and eventually married. His second wife is literally copy and paste. Like when you watch Mank and then you watch Citizen Kane, there's one character like Susan Alexander looks just like the actress that plays the character in Mank. I can't think of her name. I apologize.
Amanda.
She's blonde.
Seyfried. Probably not.
Because when I see her name, like I'll oh yeah, Lily Collins is in it, by the way. I think that's Marion Davies. Yes, so she was an actress back in the day who married older. She married what's his name? Hold on. William name. Gosh, William Rand. Hold on. William Randolph Hearst. There we go. I think that's it.
Wait, William Randolph Hearst?
I think so. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure. Because he was in cinema, was he not? He developed a newspaper chain. Yep, I'm pretty sure this is it. Spouse. Oh, maybe that's not it.
William Randolph Hearst. Where have I heard of him from?
Well, he was a big, like
kind of a big tycoon.
Yes, there we go. That's a great word for it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember who exactly. I need to have done better research into this because I know who he's writing about. I just didn't do a very good job of preparing for this. But anyway, like Charles Foster Kane and Charles Dance's character is the same person in that respect, and Marion Davies marries Charles character in Citizen Kane marries blah blah blah. They're all the same. That's the point. Is that
Gary Oldman plays Mank, right?
He does, yes. Gary Oldman is Herman Mankiewicz.
No, it's Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Yes. But the whole point is that, like, throughout the story, you know, like, if you've seen Citizen Kane, you know that each character that you see is directly referenced in Citizen Kane, just with a different name.
Nice.
And so, yeah, and so that's fun. But anyway, back to the story of Mank himself. So the present day that he's writing this, and he's given this timesheet, he has agreed to not take credit for his writing of what eventually became Citizen Kane, because he's going to get full pay and like a percentage of what the movie would gross, but without credit, because he is a discredited, he is a hated writer. Like, nobody likes Mank. He's screwed up all kinds of times, and people are like, they're just done with him. And so Mank is like, I will take pay to write this as long, like, so you can do this, but I'm not, people don't like me. No one else is coming to touch me, so whatever. And that's the original deal Orson Welles made with Mank. But as Mank writes it and he starts finishing it, he sends it to all these people that you see get characterized in Citizen Kane. And they all come to him and they're like, you can't finish this, but it's the best thing you've ever written. Like, it's phenomenal. So eventually, when he's told that by everybody around him, Herman goes up to Orson Welles and he's like, hey, I want credit. Like, I don't care what it does. I want credit. And Orson said, you will regret this. And long story short, it happens. Mankiewicz kind of learns a lesson, and they win best screenplay. But it is the best screenplay was given to both Mankiewicz and Orson Welles, and both would say they would both die saying that the other didn't write it.
I see.
And so this was kind of like,
Huh.
yeah. And so it was a very it's a complicated story because it does so much back and forth, but it is very good. Like it really takes 2 or 3 watches to fully comprehend, and a lot of history lesson. Um, as you've seen, like I know, like I already know kind of the history, and I was still having trouble with it. So like, I like Mank. I didn't think it was his best, but you can tell there was a lot of love poured into it.
How long of a film is it?
It's like 2 hours and I want to say 30 something minutes.
Jeez, Louise, it's a
No, no,
long
no, I
movie.
was wrong, way wrong. 2 hours 11. I'm sorry.
Ah,
It
ah,
felt long. Let me put it that way. Like it's so like deep in story and history and lore. It's just ridiculous. And I liked Mank. Like I said, I feel like it suffers because they try to pack too much. And like where Citizen Kane was successful with like the whole going back and forth kind of deal, Mank
right.
had some trouble with it. It was really cool how they did it because like every time that it would bounce back, they would do the date, but it was as if it was being written in a script. Like it
Mm,
would have like the header like exterior place time or whatever. And it was really cool. But like and like the transitions were cool and everything about the way that Fincher films look are phenomenal. We've said that every week, and this one's no different. But they tried to fit too much story in a just over 2 hour runtime, and for normal audiences who don't know the history behind it, it's easy to get lost.
I see. Yeah, I would probably get lost because I have not. All of this is like Greek to me. Like I don't know any of this stuff.
Like I would watch or Citizen Kane first, so that you kind of know the story of Charles Foster Kane. Like I'd wish I had done it that way, because when you know the story that Mank wrote and then you watch the film Mank, it does clarify a little bit because you realize that those characters, when you know those characters in the movie or the first movie, I should say, then you kind of get a better understanding of the history. You know
I
what I
see.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. So watch Kane first and then make.
That's how I would recommend it because like you real like I cannot like explain this enough. You need to know the history because you like you need to. You like that's why I'm saying like I wish I had watched Mank second because I watched it without having watched Citizen Kane in a while, and I was lost. Like I was trying to figure like I remember like when at the beginning he can't type because his leg's broken, right? Like he can't sit up. So he's speaking the lines, he's speaking the script that he's trying to write out loud, and it's being recited by Lily Collins' character, right?
Hmm.
And he says the line, and I just because I had seen it, but because I'm a film major, I had seen it, right? Like so, not the average person's gonna do this, but like when I was listening, I was like, "That is he writing Citizen Kane? Like, is that
Hmm.
what this is? Like that was what I didn't know. Like I didn't know going in. I knew nothing about Mank, and so like that's why I say like I wish I did because if I would have known the history, it would have made the story a lot better.
I see. I yes.
But
Okay.
that's the only real like legit flaw is that well I guess 2 flaws. You need to know the history so it's easy to get lost, and it tries to do too much in a too short a runtime.
I understand. Hmm. Well,
A good film.
yeah, I can't wait to watch both.
Yeah.
Honestly, you've presented them in a very compelling way. So
So I'm gonna give Kane a 10 out of 10. I'm not even gonna lie. Like there's no one like if anyone gives it any less, once again, like I dare them to because it's just wrong. Like I don't even care at this point. Like it's such a good movie. Citizen Kane gets a 10 out of 10, and then Mank. See, I don't want to give my biased opinion because I would give it like an 8, but it doesn't. It's probably not. You know, like it's real. It's not an 8. Just not.
what do you call it? Like a 4?
It no. It's a lot better than that. It's a good movie.
Oh, you're saying it's like a 10?
No, no. You've gone way too far in each direction. I'm thinking like a 6.8.
Okay.
like not a 7, a fringe 7. If you know the history, it's like a 7.5. So like I want to say 7.5, but because I know the typical audience won't, that does hurt it because it's not inclusive. Which I think
I
about a
see.
film in terms of its watchability, you need to have something that people can gravitate toward. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like I love it, and I would my personal rating, which is not the beyond the screen rating, would probably be a 7.5. But I'll drop it to 6.8 because that's probably where it should be.
Okay.
So yeah, go watch these films,
Watch them, guys.
please.
They seem to be very. I mean, Citizen Kane. Go rosebud it up, kids.
Dude, Citizen Kane just makes like every time I watch it, I think about my own life. Like not I don't relate, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I don't want that to happen to me. Like where in my life have I taken advantage? Like where have I had little bits of success and did I treat people wrong or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
It,
if you are not contemplative, then what are you?
yeah, like it makes you really think about yourself and not in a selfish way, but you're like, man, like I feel for this guy. It's so raw. Like please watch this movie. All right. Now it's time to move on. I'm sorry. I spent way too
Oh,
long
you're
on those
good.
two.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry.
All right. My friend, let's do some 7.
Seven. Yeah.
7.
Let's talk about seven. Seven. Sedley Devon sin. Sedley Devon. Seven deadly sins is
There we
what I'm
go.
trying to say, guys. Yeah, seven deadly sins. They are. Okay, so don't look at anything. Let's think of them. We got lust. We got greed. We got
Gluttony.
envy, gluttony, wrath,
Um,
sloth.
sloth. That's 6. Did you say rage?
I don't think rage is one.
Are you sure? Wait, did you say wrath?
Wrath, envy, gluttony,
Sloth.
sloth,
Lust.
lust.
Hold on. Okay, so let's think about them in the order. Okay, let's just talk about let's get to the film because
Let's talk about the film. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Pride.
It's
Pride.
Pride. Oh
That
yeah,
was the
Pride.
last one. Pride.
That one seems like they had six and they were like, okay, well we need one more to make it a
Bro,
seven.
the
Like
only
let's add
reason I
something in.
remember that was because
Pride.
that murder was like, it was so quick, but it was also like, man, she really chose that, huh?
That's the one. Yeah, she could either live with a disfigured face
Or,
or kill herself.
and she chose to die.
She wanted to die. Yeah, she was so obsessed with her physical appearance.
Yeah, for those that haven't seen 7, they have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
Anyway, so seven. We'll kind of make it. We won't go into every detail of the film. It's a noir film. It's a psychological thriller about two guys. Somerset, who is played by Morgan Freeman, and Mills, who's played by Brad Pitt. They're both detectives in LAPD, and Somerset is about to retire. So they go to investigate some murders, and these are murders that line up with the seven deadly sins. So the first one, probably the most famous of the film, it's like this massive fat guy that they go to his house, and he has just like hundreds of spaghetti sauce cans, and he has been what is it? He's been like I guess bolted, not bolted, but handcuffed to the chair
With barbed wire.
and with barbed wire, and he's been made to eat until he dies, right?
Yeah, he stopped eating, and our serial killer kicked him, and his stomach burst, and he died.
Right. Um. What number two gonna be?
Well, that was the politician.
Oh, he has to cut the
Pound
flesh
of
from
flesh.
himself.
Yeah.
1 pound. That is representing greed. Third one. Oh, that one's my favorite one. The third one is there's a drug dealer, right? He lives in this emaciated apartment. Nasty apartment. He's a drug dealer representing sloth, and he's been kept alive for a year.
Yep.
Just like strapped to the bed. And what do they say when they bring him in there and they're like, "Oh, he's still alive?" It's like the doctor's like, "Yeah, you could shine a flashlight in this dude's eyes and he's gonna see hell."
Yeah, he would.
Like,
They said he'd die. They said like it would be too much exposure. He would just keel over.
Yeah, like his brain is already mashed potatoes.
Dude, they
He's
just
been
sorry,
he
go
was
ahead.
fed drugs like every day, drugs and drugs and drugs.
Yeah.
Just absolutely rotted his brain on drugs.
Dude, just the imagery in this film is just gnarly. Like
Oh, it's just metal, isn't it?
it's just like a noir comic book. Like this is something I feel like a dark DC comic.
It's a lot like the Batman in
Yeah.
terms of just like or not narrative, but cinematic style. Like it's a lot like it.
Matt Reeves
I mean,
has
they're
a
both
favorite movie and you can tell.
yeah. Um, like half Zodiac, half Seven. He loves David Fincher.
Yeah. And so that one I can't like I understand why it's your favorite, but that one's gnarly. Like this man looks like a zombie. Like he looks dead, and a cop that does not like this man for whatever reason gets real close to his face, like nose to nose with what he thinks is a dead body, and he says something like just really what did he say? It was really demeaning, and then he like groans and he like just jolts up. He's like, "Go!" And then they all jump back like he's alive. Yeah, it was a rough scene.
Yeah. I like that. So, um, they track him down. And they do like this like Scooby Doo chase. They go into his apartment. And there's this like big ordeal where Mills wants to just break into his apartment and get all of the evidence he can. And I might be jumping forward. And Morgan Freeman's character Somerset's like, no, we can't do that. But they see him and they go on this huge big chase. Uh, he's wearing like kind of like a Scooby Doo even villain outfit. He's got like a big floppy hat and a trench coat on. Um, very the casting department, they said, you're making a noir movie, okay, here's a costume.
Yeah.
um or the costumes department, I suppose. So what happens after that?
Well, so Brad Pitt, being the young man Mills, he chases the guy into an alleyway, and because we don't see the serial killer's face, they're almost the whole movie. And as he's chasing him, he loses him, and it turned out the serial killer like jumped on top of a truck, a garbage truck that Mills was trying to squeeze past, and he like drops down on him, hits him, the gun goes flying, super cliche. But the killer looks up, he picks up a gun, he had a gun, I guess. Picks it up and he points it at Mills, he looks him in the eye, and then he runs away. It
Doesn't kill him.
doesn't kill him. They're like, why?
Well, and you'll figure out why.
Yeah, you'll know.
You'll know why.
Yeah.
So they get into his apartment, and he is just a nut. He's a nut. He has thousands of manuscripts of just notebooks filled with just babblings. Like he's written this like 20,000 book long manifesto about his murder. So they sift through all of these writings and all of these writings. While they're doing that, another murder happens. And this one is messed up. This one's crazy.
Are you talking
Uh,
about the lust one?
yeah. Oh yeah.
So this is after. Is this one after the Pride one?
No, it is before the
Okay.
Pride.
Okay. Yeah. No, the lust one was.
The last one, he kidnaps a guy, right? The serial killer kidnaps a guy and forces him to have sex with a prostitute with this strap-on dildo that is also like a sword. It's like a big knife, and he has to have sex with this prostitute, slicing through her anus and vagina in such a way causing her to bleed out.
And that's why this is an explicit podcast.
Yeah, I mean, okay,
It's legit. No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
yeah,
it's in the movie.
her hoo-ha
Or hoo-ha.
is disfigured.
I'm just giving you a hard time. You don't see that in the film. You just see the guy like after the fact, the guy that got kidnapped and was taken to the brothel. He's sitting in the very great acting in that scene, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Like you
oh
could
yeah, that guy's.
feel the fear.
Because if that happened to me,
Oh, same.
I'd be like, number one, here, I got it on my iPhone. Like I took a video of it. Like why not?
Right.
I put it on my Snapchat story.
Right.
Friday night, we're just I can't. yeah, I can't even use the terminology that I was wanting to use.
Okay.
But yeah. And then there's the next one. They say, "Oh, dang, like that's wild. I wish we could catch this guy." Like, crap. Um, and then the next one is a model, a female model who's implied to have some acclaim in her industry, and she is given a choice by the serial killer. She has her face disfigured, and a phone is within reach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
She can either phone for help and live, like, go just live her life, or she can kill herself and escape the rest of her life as a disfigured woman, a woman who is previously beautiful. So she kills herself, representing pride.
Yeah. Didn't he
And
glue the phone to her hand?
you know, I seems like he really got lazy with that one if he just glued it.
Yeah, I
Like he
don't
should have he
know.
should have barbed wired it to her hand,
Yeah.
like nailed it.
Hold
He's
up.
like, "Oh, this is the last one." Like the real zinger is after this, so they're not really gonna care about. Just this is a filler one.
No, you're right. You're right. Like the zinger is coming.
This one took him about 15 minutes. He looked around his apartment. He's like, crazy glue, bottle of pills. Let's go."
Yeah. Okay. So I did pull up. I pulled up the 7. Well, I guess, or is it 7 or I guess it's technically 8.
No,
Is it just
because
7?
there are 5 original victims, and then uh, Mills becomes, well, no, the serial killer
Oh.
identifies himself as Envy,
Okay.
and then
Yes. No, I know. Okay, I know why this list has 8 because they counted a character that we never see. When we get to this part, the big death, the grand finale, I'll tell you why that says 8.
hmm.
So continue.
So yeah, they're like, dang. They don't ever say "dang" in the movie. Like they never use that word, but they're like, shoot, okay, whatever. So, the serial killer, does he just call in? Is that what happens? Or, well, no,
No.
he turns up. He
Yeah.
turns up. Yeah, he shows up. He's like, "I'm the serial killer," and it's Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's the serial killer.
Yeah.
Um, More on Kevin Spacey later, or maybe not. Who knows?
We'll get
Uh,
there.
yeah, eventually. Um, he's like, "Listen, I know where the bodies are of the last victims.
Yeah.
Um, Come with me tomorrow, Mills and Somerset, and we're gonna go find them." And they're like, okay." So they get in the car with him, and he, on the way out there to his location, he's really dropping the facts on him.
Yeah.
He's talking about life, and he's talking about like all this biblical like stuff, and it's real. I mean, it's real meaningful. I don't really remember what he says, but he just talks about like power. Talks about different dynamics, about being a human and how the world is just messed up. But what does he say, Ryan? I don't even remember.
I don't remember like exactly what you're saying. He's more so talking about how like he felt he was God. Like he's like or to the effect I was sent here by God to do this. Like I have all this power. Like you don't even know what's coming. You just playing into everything I've ever wanted you to, and there's nothing else you'll be able to do about it. And Mills is just laughing. He's just like, ha ha, yeah, whatever. You're the one in handcuffs. You're the one in, we got you when this guy walks into the police station going, detective, and his hands, like, he likes, like, what did he do? With, like, sandpaper, like, burned or rubbed off his fingerprints. So, like, they only know him as John Doe, and nobody knows who he is. And, yeah, and so now they get to where he's wanting to take them, and they have like a whole like essentially like a squad like far away from just this car. Like you see a helicopter as Somerset, Mills, and John Doe are all together. And as they're like at this place, because that's where John Doe was like, yeah, this is where a body will be. Um, a van pulls up, and Somerset runs to the van as Mills stays with John Doe. Somerset gets to the van, and a guy pops out, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a delivery guy, and I was paid to be here at this time with this box." And I think one of my favorite lines in all of cinema, because it's not supposed to be funny, but I find it kind of funny, comes up very soon. Yeah, and so the Somerset opens the box, he jumps back, and he's like, "Everybody back away! Everybody back away! John Doe's in control!" And he's like running toward Mills as John Doe's like, "Oh man, I was envious as Cole has described. He's labeled himself as envy. He's like, as Somerset's running towards him, he's like, "Throw the gun away! Get away from him! He's in control! Stop!" And Mills is like, "What do you mean you're envious?" And John Doe slowly reveals that he knew that Mills had a wife.
A pregnant wife.
A pregnant wife. And that was the 8th victim.
And he Mills says, "What's in the box?"
Yeah, Mills.
What's in the box?
Oh, by the way, what was in the box was Mills' wife's severed head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was her decapitated head. You don't ever see it, but you know it's her because they say it multiple times. Yeah, and yeah, as Cole said, perfectly elaborated. Brad Pitt is yelling at Morgan Freeman with a gun. "What's in the box? Tell me what's in the box?" Yeah, and it's so sad, but it's so like
he realizes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's funny. Like just the way it sounds, it cracks me up. Call me what you want to call me.
Somerset's like, "You will not succumb to this man. You are falling right into his trap. He should go to prison and face his time. Do not do it, Mills. Do not take revenge for your wife." And Mills just shoots him like, like 7 or 8 times. Yeah, he just shoots every round he has into Kevin Spacey.
It was so jarring and so like borderline anticlimactic, just because it happened so suddenly. like it's like the music is swelling, like everything's freaking out. Brad Pitt's staring at John Doe. Morgan Freeman's looking over, like, "Stop, don't do it." And then all of a sudden the music cuts, and you just hear and you just witness as Brad Pitt's just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, and
like, yeah.
Well, something else happens, I think.
But yeah, so after that you see Mills in a cop car, and then Somerset's like, "I guess I'm not retiring," and then he has kind of like a monologue at the end. Here, hold on, I bet I can find it.
Some Morgan Freeman. "For those who say life is about taking revenge, that is not the case."
Right. Like it's exactly like it's what you'd imagine God to say in this type of situation.
Yeah. Well, if we haven't made it too clear, Mills, played by Brad Pitt, is the final sin. He's the final victim. He is Wrath. Yes. Yeah.
So Somerset says, well, maybe it's not in here. No, it's not in here. What? Wow.
It's so good though. Like, it's such a good movie.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
It doesn't say what he says though.
No, it doesn't have his. Unless this is like an incomplete.
Is it a screenplay?
Yeah.
In the script?
Yeah. Really? No, this is 7 by Andrew Kevin Walker, right?
Written by. Yeah.
Hold on. I will find what he said, because it was so like another one of those things that you're like, that was pretty good. What's in the box? Dude, like me and my brother, it's so bad because like it's morbid because this guy's like he knows his wife is dead, and we're making fun of him for being sad. What's in the box?
Wait, that's probably what I'd say. I'd want to know what was in the box.
Same thing.
Yeah. So give me that box. Let's see what's in there.
Yeah, but you'd be like, "Whoa, that's gnarly." Like you'd be sad, but you'd be like, "Huh."
I mean, it depends on who it was. Like,
right. If it was your wife, obviously you'd be like him. But if it was just like a random person.
No, I'm saying if it was my wife. Wife bad. Wife bad. Grill good. Wife bad. Fishing good. I'd say that gives me more time to go fishing.
Jesus. Okay. Here we go.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, it's just
That's what he said.
Mills looks at the box. He opens it all calmly, like, "I just want to see what's in there." He looks in there. He goes, "I have time for fishing now." And he's just like John Doe's like, "What?" Like he's just so like disappointed.
Mills is like, "You're supposed to be Wrath." He's like, "No, baby, I'm an angler."
Oh, I've never heard of that fish. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, that would have been. What an ending. Mills, but if he was a hick.
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
Nothing wrong with hicks. I'm
You
just
want to
saying.
pull up?
Listen, man. I grew up in the backwoods of Kentucky as well. I know what a hick is.
I. This is a review. Said a brutal, relentlessly grimy shocker with taut performances, slick gore effects, and a haunting finale. Which, I mean, that's just the most correct description of the film. That
Yeah,
I mean, that's
shout out to whoever wrote that, because that's like
couldn't
the
be more.
best way of like encapsulating the film.
Yeah, taut performances. They're very tight. Um, there's not a dull part of the movie. There's not. It's a very dramatic movie, and I think it might be a bit of a melodramatic movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It broods a lot. It's very dark though. I mean, it's not a comedy movie by any means.
Yeah. Okay, so I found finally I found what Somerset said at the end of the movie. He monologues. He paraphrases Ernest Hemingway, and because Ernest Hemingway said, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for," and that's the end of the quote. And then Somerset says, "I agree with the second part."
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So he
Yeah,
agrees it's worth fighting for.
It's not a fine place. It's worth fighting for.
Right. Yeah. Which is, I think that perfectly encapsulates that character.
Yeah.
Oh, did they say it was L.A.?
Yeah, it's LA.
Okay, I completely missed that. I didn't realize it was Los Angeles.
It might not be.
I thought it was just like a random city. I
I'm
thought
just
it was,
assuming.
I mean, it could be L.A. Probably is L.A.
Yeah, let's look it up. City.
City.
Albuquerque.
City of Devils. 7 was shot in L.A., but isn't set in L.A. The screenwriter was inspired by how much he hated living in New York, but it is not set in New York by schmoop.com. So take that as you will.
They shot in LA.
But it's supposedly influenced by the writer's time in New York. And okay, if you believe Schmoop, he hated New York so much. That's what, it's so funny. Oh, I love it.
Well.
Shout out
Oh,
Schmoop.
yeah, Schmoop's been saving me for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, whether they're reliable or not.
Oh, they're very reliable.
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go visit Schmoop.
Yeah.
All right, and now we have one more film. This is.
Oh, we got to rank.
Oh, that's right. All right, that's right. Okay. You know, I've given the last two. I want you to give the first one. Like, give us our first taste of 7 ranking.
I'm gonna give this movie 9 deadly sins out of 10.
Gosh, man, added whole 2 more deadly sins.
Yeah. I'm gonna think of the 2 deadly sins and like actually be logical with it.
Okay.
Bear with me here.
All right.
I'm gonna say that the next 2 deadly sins are apathy.
Okay.
Apathy's a good one. And we'll just say rage and apathy.
You know, that's fair. Yeah.
And you know, Ryan, that I'm dealing a lot with both themes now in some of my my upcoming works.
Oh my gosh, we need to tease that every week because you don't understand, people. The stuff coming this fall and into next spring, it's gonna be so glorious.
It's gonna be big, yeah.
Yeah.
Big, like we will be like they're gonna be throwing parades for us.
That's what I'm saying. Like awards, they're gonna name a day of the week out of for us, I should say, like a day of the year, I should say.
Or we're gonna have a month, like
a whole
month. A lot of groups have months, but it's gonna be like the Cole month and the Ryan month.
That's what I'm saying.
But I want October.
Or the saying month. Oh, you know what? That's fair. I'll go October with you because I would say December, but someone's already took that one. Jesus himself.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it a 9 as well because of everything you've said and more. It's so well shot and the story is so jarring. That person that wrote that thing is exactly how I feel about it, and I don't really know how else to add to what's already been said. So a 9 out of 10 for 7.
I mean, it's a deep movie, but it's not. It doesn't leave that much of up to interpretation.
It doesn't try to do more than what it was meant to be.
It sets out to do one thing, and it's to
Awesome.
like just show like a really messed up scenario, and two detectives who are trying to solve it say a little bit about the world in the meantime. It's gross, it's dark, it's fun, and it's great. It's classic, and you guys should go watch it.
I love humanization because it's like, oh, here's this like what could end up being a really good ending, but here's what would actually happen in this situation.
All right.
Yeah. And on that note, realism, Zodiac.
Zodiac. Zodiac's a lot more of a realistic film. That's exactly right.
Oh, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, Robert Downey Jr. Among guest appearances by Donald Logue. Donald Logue was one of the cops from the other precincts in California. He was a big guy in Gotham, which is another. I know I don't really watch a lot of TV, but I watch Gotham. Like Gotham. But yeah, give us. I've given two. Make it even. Give us a synopsis of Zodiac as best you can.
Okay, you might have to help me
I got you. Don't
with
even
this
worry
one.
about it.
The plot is a little bit more like, it's very much like he said, she said, he went here, he called these people. So it's a little bit harder to get
Right.
just off of memory. But we'll say the San Francisco Chronicle is it's a newspaper in
San Francisco.
1969. Yeah, obviously San Francisco. And
I'm just kidding.
they get a letter from this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I killed a couple of teenagers." And he gives the details of the crime. And they're like, "Wow, like yeah, this is true. Like these are the actual details." So he says, "Yeah, I've got a cipher for you guys to publish." And it's like a big mystery. It's like the big game that you guys have to figure out my little code, or else I will kill a dozen more people. So this is when we're introduced to Robert Graysmith, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who is a cartoonist at the San Francisco Chronicle. Works alongside crime reporter Paul Avery of the Chronicle, who's played by why do I want to say Samuel L.
Paul Avery is
Jackson.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, he's Downey Jr. and he's like an alcoholic. He's like goofy. He's awesome.
He gets worse as the story moves on for
Yeah,
various reasons.
Yeah, he goes downhill. So yeah, the first time that they publish one of these letters from Zodiac, there's like a couple of English teachers, and they decipher one of them. What else happens?
So like the rest of the movie is just Zodiac committing murders, and then like you follow because Jake Gyllenhaal's Graysmith is a cartoonist, so he has no real like connection to this other than that he works at a newspaper that's covering it and he's interested in it, right? And that's how he and Paul Avery become friends because Paul Avery is the crime journalist. And throughout the film, as the Zodiac becomes more and more daring, you see as these characters played by Junior, well, even Ruffalo.
He's Dave Toschi.
Yes, he's a police officer, detective, or inspector. But yeah, so you see as all three of these characters get driven more and more up the wall because they can't catch this guy. They just can't. And it's really particularly infuriating because of the way that the time was set. It really did a good job of making you feel like you're in the 1960s and 70s when they were trying to figure all this like forensic crime out. Because like a big piece of detail, they actually found the guy that they believed to be the Zodiac, Lee Arthur Allen. They were like, "That's our guy." And
Yeah.
I mean,
he wasn't actually the Zodiac, though.
They just couldn't prove it because of a certain thing. I don't know. The way the movie made it portray, it seemed like he was. I don't know the true history of it, so I'm not going to say whether he was or not. But in the movie, he fit every detail that, like Zodiac, they concluded he was ambidextrous. He had a size 10 shoe. He had a limp. He had all these details, and Lee Arthur Allen, or Arthur Lee Allen, whatever his name was, apparently fit that to a T.
You heard that like the actual guy that they are like pretty sure is the Zodiac killer?
No. Like the only thing
His
I
name
know
is Gary Francis Post.
Huh.
He died in like 2016, and all of the information adds up. Like all of the evidence pretty much adds up. It's so funny. He looks just like the Zodiac killer. Like he probably was the Zodiac killer, but it's one of the funniest things I have ever heard in my life. He was like active online. Gary Francis Post was
Wow.
right. He likes Weezer. He
No.
wrote that he really liked the River Cuomo's led rock band Weezer. But like there was this post on Facebook in like 2014 where this guy like it's the funniest thing I've ever heard. It's just this dude and he's taking a picture with old man Francis Post and he says, "My last visit with the old man Gary Post, Zodiac?" question mark.
What?
So like there were a
No.
few people that knew, but apparently it is Post.
Wow. So obviously the movie came out well before that. It was
Yeah.
2007 when Zodiac came out. But like, yeah, the movie makes Lee Arthur Allen or Arthur Lee Allen, whatever his name was, seem really guilty. And I feel very bad for the real life Robert Graysmith, who in the movie was very sure himself. Um,
Oh, and Lee Arthur Allen is played by he's like an actor that's very like famous.
Yeah.
I don't know his name though.
Hold on, I'll tell you. But yeah, but so like I guess we're gonna give the Cliff Notes version of this because we've already been going too long and it's hard to
Yeah,
explain this movie.
So like yeah, we've been going a long time, and this movie is it's a very complicated movie. It is
Dude, but it's so good.
because the movie is about like the Zodiac killer, but it's also about solving crimes in general.
Yeah.
And it's about history, and it's about the development and the link between, say, the media and the police, and their respective roles in solving these crimes. And when something like Zodiac happens in the film, where the solving of the murders both very much involve the police and involve the media. The media has a great deal to do with figuring out who the Zodiac killer is.
Yeah.
So it proves interesting. It does.
Yeah. And I mean another great thing too, about this whole thing is it really shows how the police back in the time they did the best they could with the time they were in, but it was kind of fuddled because they all wanted to be the one to break it.
Yeah. They wanted the fame amongst others in their department.
Yeah. Yeah, and it turned into a lot of leverage being pulled by every department. Like, oh, why didn't you share that with us earlier? Oh, do this, do this, do this, and no one wanted to help each other.
Yeah, and they at the same time they can't even get information from department to department because they don't even have a fax machine
Yeah.
in Vallejo yet, or whichever one, and they're trying to get all these documents from person to person, and it takes place over several years, like 20 years. Maybe not that long, but it takes place over a long time. You see the characters age and develop, and it's an epic. I'm gonna call it a noir epic.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
And
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
of course, it's not based, or it's based on real life, so you can't. There was really no, ending or closure to the Zodiac case, so the real closure just falls, that falls upon the characters.
Yeah, and the main character is Jake Gyllenhaal's Graysmith, as he writes a book about like the whole like I would say the last third to half of the movie, because the first half is kind of you bounce around from character to character, you set up Gyllenhaal's a main, but it's as the Zodiac's active, as he's sending letters, and then he eventually goes away. Like the Zodiac kind of goes quiet for a while. He doesn't really kill again, and then years go by, as Cole just said, and then that's when you follow Jake Gyllenhaal as he got remarried. Because at the beginning, he says to be divorced. He gets remarried, has a couple kids, but he got married because he was active in the Zodiac investigation, and she found that interesting. And then he never let it go. He was never not obsessed with it after that.
He's absolutely obsessed with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it cost him his marriage, his second marriage, and he writes the book, and that's the rest of the movie. And it's very, very deep. It's very, very good. As are all the rest of Fincher films. Like,
It's one of those where the first half of the movie is like the part that I associate with Zodiac.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the movie is just a character study on Gyllenhaal.
Right.
The big thing is like he deals a lot with the handwriting of Zodiac, and also there's a detail where apparently there was like a maid that the Zodiac killer gave his birthday to. The Zodiac killer revealed what his actual birthday was to a maid, so it's trying to figure out to track down that and secure its legitimacy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it looks like any other film. Like Fincher's a great noir director. Like when he picks out stories written as noir, he's very good at the imagery, very good at getting the actors. All of the actors in every movie he does are really good. But like other than The Social Network, but like Fight Club's a noir. Wouldn't you consider it a noir of sorts?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So like Fight Club, Seven, and Zodiac. Outside of The Social Network, those are three of his top four movies, and three
And
of
they're
them are
noirs.
noir.
And I don't know if there is any case to make that The Social Network has noir themes or tones, but it could be argued.
If you really dove deep into it, yeah. I mean, it's not noir. It wouldn't be a typical noir, but it would be definitely its own thing.
I don't think it's a noir at all, though.
No, it's
So
not. But like, I'm sure someone can make the case.
yeah, you can make the case.
Like, I agree, it's not. But like, yeah, yeah. That
Listen,
and
Ryan.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and that wraps up the month of Fincher. It's kind of sad to see this one end. I loved this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked watching these Fincher films.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people cite him as one of the best directors of all time, and he has really solidified his place over the past like 30 years as one of the biggest parts of cinema and just production in general. I mean, his influence spreads across just so many different, just monumentally great films. So
Yeah.
thank you, David Fincher, for inspiring our hearts and inspiring our minds with such great film, great cinema.
Big preach, Mr. Fincher. Some news starting next week. Cole, who do we
ranking.
Oh yeah, ranking. I'll go first. A 7.5.
7.
Okay, so 7.2.
7.25.
7.25. 2. All right, there we go. So yeah, now that we've got our ranking, Cole, who do we start next month? Who what are we doing next?
Wes Anderson, the month of Wes Anderson.
Let's go. I'm so excited. We talked about it. We're pushing back Gaspar Noé. I know we hinted at it. When Vortex becomes more readily available, Gaspar Noé's happening.
Yeah, but we've got to do some Wes Anderson. We've been doing these dark movies, these introspective and deep movies. We're ready to break down some of the other side of film.
Agreed. And it's much more lighthearted and much more. How would you describe the stereotypical Wes Anderson movie? Because I would almost want to say like, not.
It just puts a lot of weight on aesthetics, and I like.
Yeah.
I like talking about these things.
Lighter themes.
Sure. They don't beat around the bush and not deal with dark themes.
No, they do, but like in a different way.
Movies are just a lot more fun.
Yeah. So yeah, come back next week. Also starting next week with the month of Anderson. We talked about this before our semester ended, and I wanted to wait till the end of Fincher. Starting week 8, we will have these episodes broken into 2 parts. So there will be 1-hour episodes released on Tuesday and Thursday. So for you at home, you can pick whether you want to listen to cinema news or our breakdowns more easily, because I know that the 2-hour plus can be kind of hard to determine where to go to, and it might be a lot to listen to all at once.
Yeah, well, we're here, guys. Reach out to us, comment what you'd like to see, and if there's a Wes Anderson film that you'd like for us to review first or last or in the middle or anything like that, or not review or even review twice, go ahead and drop a comment.
Yeah. Cole, any final thoughts on today's episode?
It's been a great ride. Month of David Fincher.
Agreed. And with that, us two fatigued and tired young college students say goodbye. Till next week.
Bon voyage.